Hello friends, happy Friday. Today is January 21st and it's time for some creative ink. It's time for you to get inspired, time for us to create a beautiful project today, and then let's share it with others. Actually, I shared it already because I made another sample, and I had a special friend who had a birthday today, so she got one of these cards. I think it was this one. Maybe it was the one I made Monday. Okay, the one I made Monday. So we're sharing away, right? So I'm Nancy Thompson. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Skaneateles, New York, and I love sharing creative ideas with you. So come on in, say hello, let me know where you're from. If you're new to my channel, make sure you go and hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you get notified the next time I'm live. And if you're new as well, sign up for my newsletter, because that's where you get lots of times PDF tutorials from the projects that I create with you. This one probably will be, okay? I missed last week's Fun Fold going out. I was just really on a crunch time and really wanted to get out about my upcoming classes and everything. So I will work on that for this next edition of the newsletter. And what was the Fun Fold? I have to think what we made. I don't have it handy. Go back and look at last week's video. I know I move on to the next thing and kind of forget what I made. Let me see if I don't even have a title. Yeah, I don't know. But anyways, let's get started, because today's Fun Fold is super easy. And if you love Fun Folds, you're going to love this one. It's a panel pop-up card. And I saw this idea from Terry Gaines. She's another demonstrator. And I tweaked it a little bit. So, all right. So let's go to my desktop so we can see what we're working with today. All right. So let's get rid of this. And let's do this. There we go. Okay, so these are the cards we did on Wednesday, all right? We were focusing on the two-tone cardstock, okay, which is actually on special right now. This is from the Snowy Day two-tone collection, all right? The assorted two-tone is really, it coordinates with one of the scrapbooking kits, and they do have the assorted. We can buy it by itself and purchase it. So this is on sale for $6, and I think you get 12 sheets in a package, okay? And there's also, so this is the pool party. You guys see the different coordination of colors in that paper. I want to call it paper because it feels like paper, not cardstock, like what we used to. And this is Poppy Parade right here. And then we have some petal pink right here. All right. And we're going to use some garden green out of this collection, as well as some early espresso. So those are two colors that aren't there. All right. I should show you the inside of this, right? So we did this and then just did some two-step stamping. This is a great way to get introduced to some easy stamping, because you can't go wrong with this, okay? So let's welcome a few people that have joined. Hi, Shirley and Pat and Kathy. Welcome, welcome. So this is the two-step stamping stamp set. And Pat, tell me what kind of stamp this is. Is it like, do we call it distressed, you know, with this type here? I can't remember, and I haven't looked it up. But so what it does is you can stamp the outline and then you can fill it in with the stamp set. So that's what makes it two steps to create an image. And then we have the leaves, and then we have the center of the flower as well. Or it could be done as a standalone. You could stamp this all by itself and not do the outline. There's so many different possibilities. You can just do the inside by itself as well. Okay, so that's the stamp set, and then we're going to use layering leaves again for our greeting. We're going to use the So Happy to Celebrate You, and we're also using, I like to emboss this two-tone cardstock. So this is the Exposed Brick embossing folder, and it is carrying over to the next catalog, which I am thrilled about. I don't think this one is. I think unless it's in the online store, okay? We don't know what's going to the online store yet, but it's not in the next catalog. All right, so let's see. So let's look at this two-tone cardstock some more. All right. So here, there's a lot of different ways for you to use it. So we could sand it. Here I ran it through the embossing folder first. Can you guys see that? And then I only sanded this part where you can see it. So you can see the difference on just sanding it a little bit can totally change the look of your paper or cardstock. Here we could fold it so you can see both colors depending on what you need to showcase. You could crumple it up to kind of get that distressed look as well. And we can tear it so we can get that white edge like what we've done on these, what we did on Wednesday's card as well. So let's see. I just need to, I was just doing one thing. Okay, so there's different, and I'm sure there's still a lot more different ways. I was just kind of pulling this together last minute. And then here's the Mixed Media Florals designer paper that we're using as well today. This is in the online exclusives, and you can, just trying to get this so it's all in the photo because I'm zoomed in, but you can see the double-sided is what all 12 sides are like. It's a nice collection of paper, and there's a stamp set that coordinates with it as well in a bundle. Actually, there's two. It's like a mega suite there. Hi, Joan. Welcome. I know, Pat. There's a name because when it first came out, they had a distinctive name for that. And I'm trying to decide. I think I did kind of use my color wheel again. So I'm leaving this on my desk, distinctive stamping. Thank you, Pat. So I'm leaving on this desk so I can use it more in helping with my color coordination, okay? You can find it in the online store right now, but it is in the next catalog. And if you have trouble finding it, just feel free to reach out to me and I can give you a code number, which is not on here, but if you just do Color Coach, I think that will come up in the store, but it's in the next catalog. Okay, so as I said, I got this pop-up panel card as an idea from Terry Gaines, and just kind of loved it. Because I don't know, there's probably lots of other demonstrators. So let's look at this pop-up. Here we go, and the panel is just going to pop up. It sits on, a shelf really nice. And so let's get started on how to make this. Okay, so we are starting with a piece of cardstock. This is Pool Party, and it's going to be 8.5 by 5.5, and it doesn't take much. It's amazing how easy it is to make this card. And we're simply going to score it at 4 1/4. We're going to score it in half. This is going to be our card base, okay? And let me grab a bone folder here because we always want to make sure we burnish that fold really well. Okay, we're going to set that aside, and then we're going to need a second piece of Pool Party. You could make it a different color if you wanted to, but we're going to go with Pool Party and make it easy, okay? So this is going to be 4 inches wide by 5.5, okay? And on the 4-inch side, we are going to score it every 1 inch. So we're going to do 1 inch, 2 inches, and then 3 inches. That's it. That's all we have to do, because that's going to create this tunnel here, okay? And that's what's going to give you a shelf to sit on, all right? And we're done with our trimmer. So we're going to pull our bone folder back in and really burnish these edges really, really well. Hi, Colleen. Welcome. Colleen just shared a photo with me of some cute little, she makes all these cute little favors for our local Meals on Wheels program, and every month, and she just shared she made the cutest little bunnies out of some toilet paper rolls. They were adorable, so colorful and springy, and they looked great. So we are adding tear tape right up, not quite, you don't want to be touching the fold, okay, this score line here, but just before it, and we're going to do both sides here, okay? and then this outer edge. We just want to be able to, this is going to go on the inside of our card, and we just want to make sure it adheres well. So remember, when you're using Tear Tape, make sure you give it a rub, okay? And we're going to tear off the tape off just one side to begin with. Oh, I misspoke. We do need our trimmer one more time, okay? So what we're going to do is, let's move our blades out of the way. We're going to just open this up, and here on the edge of the guide, does everybody know when you put your paper in all the way like this, you know, flat, and it's touching this edge of the guide, that is 6 inches? You don't even need to look at the ruler, okay? You just know when you put it flat against this part of the guide, there's your 6-inch mark, okay? So I use that so much when I need 6 inches. So if you look at it, it's 6 inches. So we're gonna just set this here because we want this to have, because this is 5.5 and our card base is 5.5 inches tall, right? So we're gonna fold this in half, and we have the adhesive sticking up that's unpeeled, and we're going to just kind of sit it in here, push this against here so this is straight, so we've got a nice angle of straightness, okay? So just kind of hold this closed, and you want to just butt that into the corner, all right? And we gotta make sure we're touching here, and especially down here, because this is going to be flat against that edge, and then it lines it up perfectly. Just push it to the edge, this edge over here, and don't be, it's okay if it moves it back, because you know how when you get something into the fold, you want it to naturally move it out of the fold to get rid of that bulk, okay? So can we see here? So it just really put it up right to the fold is what we really want. So now when we go this, we're gonna close it up like that. So does that all make sense? Hopefully I explained that right. Because, you know, seeing and doing are two different things. Okay, so we've got that secured right, and it's not bulky in the seam here. And we're going to just hold that down and start from the seam or the fold and push it that way. Okay, and that is all there is to it. Look at that. It opens and closes nice. It's not going to lay flat, okay, because it's just not going to totally flatten out. It's just going to have a thing. So it's just always going to open up like, you know, like a book on the shelf. Okay, so let's decorate this, okay? So we'll start with, I've got 2 pieces of designer paper. They're 3 inches wide and 5 1/4, okay? So let's grab some adhesive here. And so I chose paper that, there's Pool Party in here, and Old Olive, and probably Shy Shamrock as well. So this is going to give us an automatic like 1/8 of an inch or so all the way around, 1/4. And then let's put this other panel on. You could leave this other side blank if you wanted to, but I love when it's opened up, sitting on a shelf. You're going to see it's going to look beautifully decorated. So we'll just center this as well. Okay, isn't that beautiful? And let's do our front now. But this is kind of a bulky card, okay? So kind of keep in mind what, how you're going to embellish it, how many layers, and so on, okay? So I already took some of this Petal Pink. It's a, is it 2.5? I gotta remember now. I think it's 2.5 inches. Hang on. Yes, it's 2.5 inches wide that I started with by 5.5, okay? And then I ran it, or I tore it first, okay? So I went down and I tore towards me. So I can flip this over and you can see both shades of that Petal Pink. And then I ran both pieces through the embossing folder, because if you did it first, the embossing is going to be upside down on one of them. Okay, does that make sense? Hi Betty, welcome. I'm glad you're here. And thanks Pat, I'm glad you understood it. Hopefully everybody else did. If I didn't quite understand about how to put this in, let me know. Okay, so let's I am just going to start over here on the left and just kind of, I should have got my grid paper out. All right, I'm going to put that down, and then let's adhere this. Remember to use a little bit more adhesive because it is embossed. Okay, and I'm just going, just covering up the edge, that straight edge, okay? Because I do want to kind of cover up as much as I can, but it's not going to totally cover our card front. All right, so let's set that aside. I forgot, we're going to use these awesome Texture Note dies again. They're in the online exclusives. You're going to love them. They're just beautiful. So I've already die cut, I think the same one we used yesterday, okay? We're going to pull in our little flower here, and I'm going to ink it up. Since it's a big flower, like, is there something on there? Hang on. I feel like there's something, little dot of something. There is. Okay. Must be something on my ink pad. So I like to turn it upside down so I make sure I get full coverage and I can see the ink. Yikes. All right, so let's stamp this, and it just fits perfectly. It's a big stamp, so make sure you're getting pressure, you know, with all your fingers over that image as well. Okay, look at that, beautiful. All right, I got that done. I've already stamped the envelope, so we're good with that. Okay, and what I did was I want to just use the flower head on the inside. So I went on with a piece of scrap and stamped that. All right, so let's cover up some ink here. Okay, let's start with the petal pink. We're going to use petal pink because we got petal pink paper here. And so let's ink up our flower. Let's start with the envelope, and it lines up so well. You can really see it, the outline of the flower and everything really well. And it's distinctive. It's two-step stamping, so if you go outside the image, it's totally fine. So I find this is a little light, okay? So I'm going to go over it again, okay? So let's just stamp it again. You could probably stamp it as many times as you want. See how it deepened that up? Actually, let's compare the two. Okay, you can see the difference, right? How much lighter that is versus the other one. And you could even do it again if you really, you know, if you felt like that wasn't deep enough. Let's just try it. I haven't stamped it 3 times before. Oh, it even makes it a little darker, and it still looks fine against the cardstock. So okay, so I've already pre-cut my flowers just so we can save some time. So, but we need this done for our card front. So let's do this, and I think we're gonna go 3 times today. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna use some pecan pie, which is in our neutral collection. Okay, there's a little, looks like a little bean here for that. Let's do this. And I wanted to do this one again. Oh, we got to do our envelope, okay? So just get everything prepped and go down with one color, close it up, move on to the next, right? Okay, and then we're going to do Granny Apple Green for our leaves here. So let's do this, and this definitely only needs, so the key with this is to line up this part of the stem on this this stem part with the leaves. When you get that lined up and the bottom lined up, it just kind of falls into place, I think. Okay, there's our envelope, and let's stamp this. There we go. Okay, whoops, sorry about that. Okay, I think we're done with our inks, so let's just give them a little close up here. Oh, and I forgot, when you're sanding, if you have just like, if you have an old, this is an old Stampin' Up! Sanding block, but you could use some really fine sandpaper as well when you're working with that two-tone cardstock if you wanted to sand it, okay? Okay, so what else do we need to do? We need to stamp our greetings. So we're going to take this one right here, and we're going to stamp "So happy to celebrate you." And I'm going to stamp it right in the middle here. There we go. I hope this sets in the online store because I use it so much. Fingers crossed, right? Okay, so we're going to use some basic black. You could use whatever color, but I thought the black just made everything pop. So we're going to layer this, where's my adhesive, onto here. Okay. Anybody got questions? So just remember that there's my March host code. If you love any of these supplies and want to order anything in the online store, you can do that. And don't forget, you get a free supply kit. This month there's 6 cards in it that I send to you with a PDF tutorial. It uses the Happy something. Yeah, what does it use? There's a template, a One Sheet Wonder template too that goes with it for the PDF, which you're going to love. So all you have to do is spend $50 in my online store, and I will be mailing you out a package by the end of the month. Okay, so we've got our 2 pieces here done, and I have a third one here. I didn't go with this size, but maybe you guys can help me decide. I thought it was too big, so we'll just kind of put that and we can decide whether to use that. And I fussy cut the flower tops right here already. So we're going to attach them, put some adhesive. My first card I made, I used dimensionals, and then I'm like, you know what? I don't think it needs it because it was just really making it super thick. So I'm like, I think these can get away with being flat. Okay, there we go. So let's put these on. We're going to tie some ribbon around here. This is the, what do we want to call this? Large check ribbon. That's vanilla and black. Black and vanilla, large checked ribbon. I have so much of this and have hardly used it, so it's time to use her up. I thought this went well with it, because we don't have very much vanilla items like paper or anything like that, so I just felt like it looked, but I think this blends in okay on this card. So we're going to just wrap it around here and tie a bow. Key is to keep your fingers in the loops so it helps keep it tight. There we go. I want my tails to be down. Okay, I think that looks good. Maybe a little smaller. Let's see. You know, I don't make very many bows this way anymore. Okay, I think I got it. So let's trim. Trim. There we go. Okay, now this we're going to put some dimensionals on. All right. Okay. Let's do this and add these on. So it's the weekend already. Boy, I'm not sure where this week went by, but next week demonstrators get the opportunity to pre-order from the annual catalog. So that's going to be an exciting time. I forgot to stamp something. Okay, let me find it first. So there's a little tiny bee in this stamp set. Let me make sure I pointed it to you. Right here. Can you guys see that? Look at the little bee right there. So I forgot to stamp him. So let's see if we can add it on without. Because I didn't add any gems. All right. So I wasn't sure what gems to even put on. So if anybody has any suggestions, or does this just look plenty good enough? So isn't he cute? Look at him or her, whichever it is, right? Okay. So let's add our pop-up. So this is just going to go right here on this ledge, okay? So just on this section, all right? So we have to figure out, I need to move this over a little bit more. It's hanging over. It's gonna, let's see if I can get this without killing it. I'm lifting the tag. All right, we had to do a little surgery here. Let's glue that back down. And let's just make sure it's sticking. You want to make sure it's not sticking off this side, okay? Okay, so what we're going to do is you just really need an inch, okay? So I guess we're going to pull in the grid paper, my messy grid paper. This is what I got for right now. So let's just put it on here. So between the two black lines is an inch. So let's take our tear tape and just put it below an inch, okay? So let's just start here, and I'm going to just go below a line. Make sure I'm below. And then the other one's really simple. We're going to just put another one down here next to the edge, okay? Let me just make sure. Yep, it's not. So you could double check, put it on here, look at it from the other side to make sure no tear tape is showing, okay? All right, and then we're just going to, before I put this on, so just envision this, okay? And it's just going to close and show. But I'm not sure if we go with a smaller, it is a smaller area to greet, you know, and it will cover it up. But, or should we just go with this larger piece and not worry about it, right? Because it's okay if it's open, you know, but it does give you more room to write. So let's go with the larger one and see if we like it. Because I did do, it's easier to put it on now versus after you do that. So it's definitely easier. So let's just center this onto here. I feel like I'm crooked. There we go. Okay, so we have a place for a message, and now we can take this back off. Oh, I got a tickle. Hang on. Okay, so let's just, so I'm just going to center this. That looks good. And then just make sure it's closed and secure. There we go. Isn't that just sweet? So easy, isn't it? You guys see that? It's just so easy, and it's going to look great on a shelf. So let's pretend that's the shelf. That's the way it's going to look, sitting on a shelf. Kind of like that. So I like it. And then it does, you know, it almost covers that up. There's still some white showing here. You see that, but I think that's okay. The card's closed. When you open it up, I think you can see the message definitely a lot more. And it does give you more room to write. All right. Any ideas on gems, anybody? I don't know, you know. Let me just see what I have. We got these cuter ones. We've got these. That's lemon lime. These are the latte ones. Hearts that, I mean, these, I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, I don't like those either. And these are too sparkly, I think. So, anybody ideas? Love it. Thanks, Pat. Let me just, I don't know if these are even in the online store anymore. But I just need to use them up. You know what? These might be okay. What do you guys think? Or does it not even need anything? Let's see. I don't even like it in the center. They're so big and tall. I will be having, Colleen, good, I'm glad you love it. In the next newsletter, my goal is to have this one for the next newsletter, okay? So let's put one here. We'll put one here. All right, and let's just put another one here. All right, there we go. You had some green when I first started looking. We're gonna go with this, sorry. Okay, so let's just, let me throw this in. Okay, let me show you the other color schemes that I have for you, okay? So, oops, did we do the envelope? Yes, we did do the envelope. So there's the envelope for the Petal Pink, okay? And then we have this Boho Blue card base. And let me just zoom out more now, okay? And so there's that. And this is using the Early Espresso. And the darker the cardstock is, it just automatically distresses it, you know, like you sanded it, but you haven't, okay? Thanks, Myra. Thank you. And welcome. Okay, here's Boho Black card base with Poppy Parade two-tone, okay? I love just the deepness. I think I double stamped them with the poppy. Now this one, I totally forgot to emboss the paper. And what a difference, you know, that embossing texture does for the card. You guys see that? You know, to emboss it versus not embossing it. So this one's fun. I should be showing you the inside too, right? So here's the smaller panel right there. Yes, let's look at the inside. This is pretty, I think, with the Poppy Parade. And then this is Flirty Flamingo ink for the flower right there. So that's fun. And that's it. That's all the color combinations I could come up with. So I couldn't come up with using the Pool Party. I don't know. It just, with the paper, the Pool Party just wasn't working. I mean, there's supposed to be Pool Party in it, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't like this paper on Granny Apple Green. So, yeah, so I just didn't do it. And it looked too much to have the distressed, the two-tone on Pool Party too. It wasn't enough of a contrast. So, okay, everybody, I hope you loved it. So just make sure here you go to my website at createwithnancy.com and hit that subscribe button if you'd love to receive my newsletter that's filled with PDF tutorials, the latest Stampin' Up! News, classes. So speaking of classes, in-person classes is, we'll be having our next Crafters Tea, our so we're having soup. this time at our tea party, and we're doing this retired Hugs for Shelly paper pumpkin kit. So everybody that will be our project at this crafters tea, which is great. It's 12 cards and you're gonna love it. They're just great cards to have on hand, and you can make any words that you want. There'll be other words on hand for you to do. And you know what? If anybody's interested to go kit of this, let me know, because I could put one together for anybody who'd like a to-go kit. I can, maybe I'll put that in my next newsletter too. Information about a to-go option for the super tea. Okay. All right. Yes, Colleen. Thank you, Colleen. I'm glad you loved it. And Betty, thank you. And everybody, thank you for joining me today. I so appreciate you. And come back next Wednesday at 3 p.m. for some more Creative Ink. And we'll be doing something special, right? I don't know how much time I'm going to create this weekend, because I'm really trying to get my taxes done. So wish me luck, everybody. I want to get them done so I can get playing with stamps, ink, and paper again, right? And oh, good, Colleen. It's going to be a fun day. There'll be some surprises, not as many as our one in February, but this one we'll have a couple surprises. So it'll still be fun, and just it's more about the community as well. So, okay, thanks so much. Have a great weekend, everybody.